Imagine a young warrior king, only in his 20s, standing before an exhausted army that has fought tirelessly across mountains, deserts, and rivers, all for the dream of conquering the known world. His name, Alexander the Great. But now, at the edge of the world, his men want to turn back. They're tired, far from home, and beginning to question their king's relentless ambition. Alexander faces a defining moment. To push forward, he must deliver a speech so powerful that it revives the spirits of an army on the brink of rebellion. Historians say this was one of the greatest speeches in history, a moment where words alone could determine the fate of an empire. But what did Alexander say that day to unite his men and inspire them to keep going? Today, we're diving deep into the words and strategy behind Alexander's legendary speech. We'll explore how he crafted a message that was equal parts loyalty, challenge, and hope. Stick around, and by the end, you'll see why Alexander's speech isn't just a historical moment, it's a masterclass in leadership. By this point, Alexander's army had marched thousands of miles, conquering regions that most had only heard about in legends. They were far beyond the borders of what any Greek had ever seen. His men were no longer fighting for territory, they were fighting for survival. Each battle took them farther from their homeland. For these soldiers, Alexander's unending ambition was starting to look less like heroism and more like recklessness. Morale was low. The unity of his empire was at stake. So how did Alexander start this epic speech? With a surprising move, he didn't lecture his men, he reminded them who they were. Instead of demanding loyalty, Alexander began by listing each soldier's accomplishments, making them see themselves not just as men, but as legends. He reminded them of the hardships they'd overcome together. By focusing on their achievements, Alexander did more than just flatter them. He united them in pride, making it clear that their journey wasn't just his, it was theirs. But Alexander didn't just celebrate his men's bravery. He highlighted his own sacrifices, reminding them that he didn't stay safe behind the lines. He bled beside them, faced the same hardships, and took on the same dangers. He wasn't just a leader, he was one of them. This was a critical moment. By showing that he was willing to suffer for the same dream, he bridged the gap between king and soldier. Alexander transformed from a distant ruler into a comrade. Then came the final move, a challenge. Alexander didn't just ask his men to follow him, he challenged their courage. He said, "If anyone is afraid, they are free to go home." This wasn't an insult. It was a powerful reverse psychology move. Alexander trusted his men's loyalty, and his offer wasn't to shame them but to give them freedom. But deep down, every soldier knew that to leave now would be to abandon glory, to turn away from a destiny they'd fought so hard to create. Alexander's words worked. His men were re-energized, filled with the fire of a shared vision. They continued their campaign, pushing further into the unknown lands, all because of one speech. Alexander's speech wasn't just about words. It was a blend of psychology, respect, and shared purpose that has been remembered for centuries. Leaders today still study it as an example of how to inspire and unite, especially in the face of impossible odds. Imagine what we could accomplish if we all had a leader who believed in us like Alexander believed in his men, or if we became that leader for those around us. So, what do you think? Was this the greatest speech in history? Subscribe for next episode.